If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back for day 4 of the 12 Days of Metal collaboration holiday series here on this YouTube channel, where myself and other YouTubers that love metal talk about a favorite album from a particular subgenre of heavy metal music. So far we've touched on classic metal, doom metal, and speed metal. Now for day 4, why not go into the next proper evolutionary step of metal, and that's, of course, not only like the perfect middle ground between punk and metal, but also one of the forefather genres of what would become extreme metal, and that is thrash metal. My personal favorite style of metal and music as a whole. And of course, thrash metal, perfect progression from speed metal, although here it was like the hybrid of speed metal, new wave of British heavy metal, and hardcore punk mashed together into something that was on the borderline of classic metal and extreme metal. It is the first extreme metal genre proper, but still has a lot of roots attached to classic metal as a whole. After all, the guitar style is very much new wave of British heavy metal mixed with the drum beats of hardcore punk, with a little bit of that speed metal toughness added in on top. So I figured my album choice for thrash, of course, I think everybody knew this was coming. It's obviously Metallica Master of Puppets. In my opinion, the greatest thrash album of all time, and really what put thrash on the map. Early 1986, I've talked about this album so many times, so I'm gonna try and keep it brief. But great production by Flemming Rasmussen. The musicianship, I felt, went up from Ride the Lightning in terms of diversifying the tempos. Like, you still get a ton of fast stuff on here, but you get some slower stuff, some more groove-oriented stuff, like kind of trying to help expand Thrash's horizons a little bit more in terms of songwriting and tempo shifts. And even getting a little bit proggy at times, because after all, you get some pretty long tracks on here, like the title track, Master of Puppets, Orion, Disposable Heroes, all clocking in at over 8 minutes, or even 8.5 in the case of the title track. But you still get some barn burners in terms of thrash, like Battery, of course, Disposable Heroes, Damage Incorporated, and the title track, keeping on that thrash vibe. But then you get to some more classic metal-oriented stuff like The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home Sanitarium, and Leper Messiah, all kind of showcasing, hey, we don't just play super fast, we can play groove stuff, we can play slightly doomier stuff, we can do it all, and do it very well, and they damn sure did do it very well on this album. Lars's drum performance was really good, even though people want to shit on Lars a lot of times for his drumming. The bass work, Cliff Burton's finest hour, in my personal opinion. The guitar work of Hetfield and Hammett's great, and Hetfield's vocals, when he started sounding a little bit more mature in his vocal range. Come on. You can't ignore Master of Puppets no matter how hard Metallica haters try. But yeah, this is my pick for the thrash metal time. And well, that's just me. Let's see how my cohorts feel about it, and what did they choose for thrash metal.
Now on to thrash metal. Now we're bringing back the punk rock element and bringing into the harsher vocals. And my favorite thrash metal record comes from the same year as the speed metal record, Megadeth's Rest in Peace, and that is 1990's Slayer, Seasons of the Abyss. Crushing record. In my opinion, Slayer's best album yet ever, honestly. Title track, Dead Skin Mask, War Ensemble, what else? Skeletons of Society. You cannot go wrong with this record. It is, in my opinion, I know a lot of fans bring up Rain and Blood as the definitive Slayer record, but this is where I believe they mature as songwriters. Everything is just falling into place a lot better. It's a much more well-produced record, and in my opinion, it's the best thrash metal record. My favorite thrash metal record. Doesn't have to be yours.
What's up, guys? It's just Josh in here for day 4 of the 12 Days of Metal. Today's thrash metal, and my pick for thrash metal is Master of Puppets by Metallica. Bit of a safe pick, I guess, not very obscure at all, but I don't know, man, just going with a classic here. Metallica was the first heavy metal band I fell in love with, which I can definitely tell is the same story for a lot of metalheads out there. A lot of metalheads got into metal through Metallica, and for good reason. This album is amazing on every level. I don't know if I'd quite rate it 10 out of 10, but it's very close. It's a strong 9 at the very least. Just waste no time. You get a short acoustic intro before Battery just comes in and absolutely rips your face off. The title track obviously is incredible. The thing that should not be is a very slow burner. Lots of heavy palm-muted riffs. Welcome Home Sanitarium starts off as more of a ballad, but it picks up the pace halfway through. And then Disposable Heroes is just one of their fastest songs outright. And there's even more underrated tracks on here, such as Leper Messiah, Orion, obviously the instrumental is great, and then the album ends with the absolute banger Damage Incorporated. And yeah, not a single bad song on this album. No song is a slouch on this album, not even Leper Messiah, which might be the least popular song on the album. It's still great, very underrated. And yeah, great vocals on this album, great lyrics, furious guitar work from James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett, and unfortunately this would be the last album that Cliff Burton did with Metallica. Rest in peace, Cliff. And Lars, man, this is prime Lars. He was a beast on the kit in the 80s. I know people love to talk shit about Lars now, and yeah, he's not a great drummer, but man, he was awesome in the 80s. But even back in the 80s, there were still better drummers, but he fit Metallica very well. Obviously, one of the mastermind behind Metallica, so you got to give him some credit there. But anyways, yeah, my pick for thrash metal, Master of Puppets.
What's going on, guys? BossUp86 here, back to another video, and today I'm here to do part 4, or day 4 of the 12 Days of Metal. Well, we already talked about traditional doom and speed metal. Now I'm going to talk about thrash metal. Now this one was a very, 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 very difficult one to do, because if you guys know me, I absolutely love thrash. It's one of my favorite subgenres. I have so many, I could have picked so many albums. Like, I could have picked Metallica's Ride the Lightning. I could have done Exodus's Shovelheaded Kill Machine, Titans of Creation by Testament. You know, just so many thrash albums I could have done. But I'll give you a hint, folks. It's part of the Big Four, and it's the most heaviest out of the Big Four. Of course, I'm talking about Slayer! That was cringy. Fully aware of it. Slayer is one of the most influential metal acts of all time in terms of the extreme side, and now, this one was tough because I almost loved damn near everything in their catalog. Show No Mercy from 1983, that's a really good album. Hell Awaits is the most evil Slayer album that they've ever done. Their 1986 classic Rain and Blood. Season of the Abyss from 1990. Christ's Illusion in 2006 when Dave Lombardo joined back. I think that's a really good album. But one album that I consider the best, and if it's not the best, it's certainly my personal favorite Slayer album, it's gotta be South of Heaven. This album has the perfect blend of melody and mastery at the same time. Like, this thing, when it gets heavy, but it's really, really, really mid-tempo, and I really love that, because I love Rain and Blood, don't get me wrong, but I love how mid-tempo and very melodic this album is. Like, people don't really think this album's melodic. I kind of disagree. I think this album has a lot of good melodies. And there's a lot of, like, cool experimentation going on. Like, they even experiment with, like, acoustic guitars on Spill the Blood, which that is one of my favorite Slayer songs. It's very, very, very melodic. It's very catchy too. Now, what is my favorite track? Tough call, really tough call. Title track, Spill the Blood, Behind the Crooked Cross, Mandatory Suicide, just so many other great songs too. Hell, their cover of Distant Aggressor by Judas Priest, I think that's a really damn good cover in all honesty. There's just so many great songs that I could have picked. The one that stands out the most in my personal opinion is Silent Scream. Good lord, that song's messed up. It's an anti-abortion song and it's very twisted. It's so dark. It's so dark for the material of the band, and it's just that opening. Just those tempos, absolutely amazing, and just Dave Lombardo shines throughout this entire album. Like, his fills on this album are absolutely ferocious. It's phenomenal. Now, how did I find this album? Kind of just found it on a whim. Like, I kind of found it by myself because I found Slayer through, again, like, a lot of people say, oh, this is one of the best thrash acts of all time, and I'm like, I mean, they're okay. I didn't think there were, like, anything outstanding, and then I listened to their entire catalog, and this was the big standout in my personal opinion. And they have a lot of standouts. Again, don't get me wrong, Season of the Abyss and Rain and Blood, but I think this album captures that mid-tempo really, really, really good. How does this album connect to me, or what does this album mean to me? This is the perfect representation of a band trying to change their sound and doing it right. When they kind of went full on, I wouldn't say like full on nu metal, but when they kind of went nu metal with the Ableton Music, I didn't mind that personally because I did listen to nu metal growing up. I like their approach of it, even though it's not a great album in all honesty. I think it's okay for what it is. Here, they wanted to bring more melody into it. They didn't want to go like full on balls to the wall and all that stuff. They wanted to slow things down a bit, which I really, really, really appreciate that. I think it's a point where a band is wanting to go a little bit slower, even like kind of Doom territory in some ways, and make sure that they don't lose the audience and keep the aggression going forward. So that is what this album needs to be personally. So, thank you guys for watching this, and I want to know what your guys' favorite thrash album is. I can guess maybe Master of Puppets or maybe Rust in Peace. I'm willing to bet that's going to be on a lot of your guys' list, but I'm really curious to see what you guys have for your favorite thrash metal album is. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Join the herd. I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace out.
Miss me? I know you wouldn't miss me. So, like I said, now we're moving on to day number 4. And this is a subgenre that I know Levi loves to death. And of course, I'm talking about thrash metal. And being thrash metal is one of the most beloved subgenres in all of metal. Because let's be honest, without thrash metal, some of the black metal albums wouldn't be today. Some of the death metal bands wouldn't be today. Hell, modern metal wouldn't be today. Like a band like a Trivium or some sort of. But thrash metal is one of those subgenres that has so many albums you can go. You can go from the most underrated, from Overkill, Years of Decay, or something like Flotsam and Jetsam, Doomsday the Deceiver. Hell, you can even go something from, I don't know, Metal Church's self-titled debut, Metal Church. But being it's thrash metal, there's a couple of albums that automatically come to mind. And I had to choose between 2 of my favorite thrash metal albums of all time. But of course, I went with the one that I think, and I know for sure, Levi, and I'm talking to you, Levi, I know for sure you're going to have this on your album because I know you missed her. And of course, I'm talking about Metallica's The One, The Only, Master of Puppets, released on March 3rd, 1986. I can't believe it. From 1986, people. You can't believe it. Some of us weren't even born at that time when this album was released. But, you know, there's a reason why this is called the greatest thrash metal album of all time. when you start up the album with Battery, an underrated song that they really don't play it as often as I used to think. The last time I heard they play it often was when the movie Into the Narrow was in, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not the biggest Metallica fan out there, but I'm pretty sure somebody out there might correct me. But when you start off an album like Battery, you know it's a kick-ass motherfucker, like boom, boom, hit, 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 hit. You know it's gonna be a great-ass song. And then you move on to, of course, the title track, Master of Puppets, a song that it is probably the greatest Metallica song of all time, next to something like Fade to Black. Probably the greatest thrash metal song of all time, being 8 minutes in length, which at the time, in 1986, you really didn't see that. Well, you started to see more longer songs being closer to the 10-minute mark, but not to the point of being a 30-minute song or plus, which we'll eventually see in Bill Witch's Mirror Reaper. But Master of Puppets is one of those songs in time that you get it the minute you listen to the album. And of course, this song became more popular, of course, with Stranger Things coming up, which, so a lot of people think that, oh, this is gonna be against, elitists and all that, which I'm not an elitist. I do believe that if you expose metal songs on popular shows to a broader audience, you might get more fans to come into the shows and share the love and music of a band, which, like I said, it's a good thing for younger fans who have never heard of Metallica, watch a show like Stranger Things, get into the song, and make them go deeper into the discography to see how badass of a band Metallica is. But again, Master of Puppets, the song, it's an entire thing of its own. I mean, when you start with that riff, the dun 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 dun, it's a riff that I've tried so much to learn on guitar. As you can see, I'm a guitarist. But to me, the midsection of the slow intro, the kind of the one of the first main, so the dun 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 dun, I believe it's one of the most impactful solos that I have learned. That it's so great, even when you play it on acoustic guitar, you can feel it. You can feel everything about this song is fucking amazing. But not only that, you go more into the album, you get even bigger hits. You get the thing that should not be an underrated song, Welcome Home Sanitarium, which a lot of people think that, what was the name of the band? That the Misfits ripped off some of it for the song Helena, which I don't remember if it came out before or after. I don't remember correctly. But you go deeper into the album, you have a song like Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, Orion, probably one of Cliff Burton's most iconic moments, that intro of the bass giving him more time to shine. And unfortunately, this was the last album Cliff Burton was a part of until his fateful passing, which is a shame that Cliff Burton passed so young. And I wonder what would have happened if Cliff Burton would have still been alive and continued with Metallica. The albums would have been better than they are right now. Who knows? But Orion's one of the greatest instrumentals out there, next to something like maybe the Call of Cthulhu from Ride the Lightning, or maybe something from, try to remember from the top of my head. I can't remember top of my head right now, but it's one of the greatest instrumentals of all time. And then, of course, you close the album with Damage Inc., which, again, another underrated Metallica song, which a lot of people really don't give the time to listen to the entire album. They just go for the hits, which, me as a person who likes to listen to the entire album in their entirety, gets to appreciate what the album is and the songs and why they were put there, the instrumentation, all that. But there's a reason why this, next to something like maybe Slayer Raining Blood, is considered one of, if not the greatest thrash metal album of all time. From everything from the album cover, which, come on, that is a badass album cover. I mean, come on, one of the most iconic album covers in metal history, to be honest. But there's a reason why this, to maybe Raining Blood, are considered the greatest thrash metal albums of all time. But in my opinion, Master of Puppets kicks Slayer's Raining Blood just by a pubic hair, to be honest. But, for this episode, for this day, I chose Metallica, Master of Puppets. Obey your master.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the 12 Days of Metal. Hope you guys enjoyed the following albums that we've talked about on this episode, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas indeed. Horns high. See you guys in the new year.